The red poppy is one of the many Memorial Day symbols. One of the few Memorial Day rituals that Americans partake in is wearing a poppy. But it started in 1915 when Canadian Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae spotted red poppies blooming during his military service on the Second Battle of Ypres. He then penned the poem, In Flanders Fields. The poem is a touching tribute to those who succumbed during the war, as it's written from the perspective of the dead. A short while later, a Georgia professor, Moyna Michael, wrote her own poem, We Shall Keep the Faith, as a campaign to make poppies the symbol of acknowledgement to those who died in wars. One of the first Memorial Day celebrations was observed by newly freed slaves. Nobody can trace when and how exactly Memorial Day started. However, some historians, such as David Blight, wrote in his book, Reunion, The Civil War in American Memory, that back in 1865 in Charleston, South Carolina, 257 prisoners died after Confederate soldiers captured and eventually killed the Union soldiers. They were then buried in unmarked graves. Because of this, some newly freed slaves decided to give them a proper burial. It didn't take long before other Charleston residents followed suit and decorated the graves. A white fence was built around the graves and an archway was also made. The archway had Martyrs of the Racecourse written on it, as the deceased were killed in a former planter's racetrack. Eventually, up to 10,000 black Charleston residents participated in this tribute. According to David Blight, it gave birth to an American tradition. The war was over, and Memorial Day had been founded by African Americans in a ritual of remembrance and consecration. Blight stated in his Race and Reunion book, Waterloo is recognized as the birthplace of Memorial Day. Several towns across the country claim that the birthplace of Memorial Day took place in their town, Boalsburg, Pennsylvania. Residents claim that they started Memorial Day first, after some women in their town mourned those who perished at Gettysburg in 1864. Carbondale, Illinois claimed that they started celebrating Memorial Day in 1866, as they started a parade that John Logan led. However, the officially recognized birthplace of Memorial Day is in Waterloo, New York, after the town closed its businesses in 1866 to take part in a community-wide observance, where graves of the fallen soldiers were decorated. In 1966, former President Lyndon B. Johnson signed legislation that Waterloo is the official birthplace of Memorial Day. Memorial Day unofficially marks the beginning of summer and peak hot dog season. Though we cannot control our climate and seasons, Memorial Day has long been recognized as the start of the summer season. This Memorial Day, lots of Americans are expected to get together and grill barbecue.